Hello, fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and I have a little story to tell you. Several days ago, I put up a message in Indonesian on my Facebook channel asking for somebody who could edit for me. Why Indonesian? Well, number one, I'm pretty fluent in Indonesian, so it doesn't pose a significant barrier for me to hire somebody on as my partner for editing videos. And that I also am familiar with Indonesia, having lived there for so long. So I thought it would be a good choice. And of course, obviously, the cost of living in Indonesia is significantly lower than here. It's like, say, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, a lot of countries, honestly. So getting somebody who might charge less for the work would definitely be helpful, especially since I'm unemployed and on limited means right now. So nothing happened. I put it on X, as I believe, as well, and nothing happened. I put it on LinkedIn in Indonesian, and I didn't get a response. I put it up again on Facebook, still nothing. So I was about to give up, but then I thought, well, let me just try again, and in English this time. So this time I put it on Facebook and LinkedIn in English. Facebook, still no response whatsoever. That's fine. But I got at least 20 contacts asking me to let them try to be my editor. Now, I was getting flooded for a few days, which is why I'm behind schedule on my videos. Not, if you hadn't noticed. I'm sure you noticed. That's why I didn't get out the video about airflow over the weekend. I'm working on it today. I should have it done tonight. So I'm sorry about that. Please don't be angry at me. Anyways, I got a lot of people from India and Pakistan. And I got one person who's half American, half Indonesian, living in Bali, just recently turned 18. And a man who's got a team in the Philippines, and an American. And the man in the Philippines wanted too much money for not enough work. And I know that the cost of living in the Philippines is low. So really, I negotiated with him. I got him down a little bit, but considering my financial situation, I could not swing anything less than that. So I still talk to him, and well, as if this has been ongoing for months and months. No, I am still in communication with him infrequently, but I can't at this point justify the cost without opening up my IRAs and taking all the money out of them in the hopes that I can get somebody who's good enough to actually make my channels go in a good way. Not like whoops. That's the problem of having long arms. The darned elbows always get in the way. So I had a couple of days ago, I had about a dozen people who were interested. And so I just thought, I'm going to try something. So I sent them a message saying, don't worry, you've only got 12 people competing against you. This is a really good tactic for weeding out the serious from the not serious. And I've never tried it before, and it worked like a charm. I'm telling you, out of the dozen people or so, approximately a dozen, I didn't really count, I just guesstimated. Most of them did not answer. One answered with okay, spelled incorrectly, and I didn't hear from again. Another one answered with a really positive comment, and a third one answered with a really positive comment. The half Indonesian, half American was after that, and she was interested, and then suddenly she just flipped off like a light switch, which was okay because, quite frankly, I got the very distinct impression that she wasn't mature enough and that she didn't have confidence in herself. And plus, she wasn't really interested in committing to a long-term relationship of the platonic kind, okay? She's only 18 years old as an editor. That wasn't what her interest was. She wanted to get some experience. And so when she abruptly said, I don't think we're a good match, I was like, okay. I wish you success. So that was that. And then I got several more people from the subcontinent of India, primarily Pakistanis, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And although I had specifically said in my English and Indonesian versions that you must be fluent in English, the ones who actually tried to follow up with me, let alone give me an actually edited sample, very few. In fact, there were not only that, but there were two gentlemen who refused to edit anything whatsoever without money changing hands. And I said, look, you only have to do 30 seconds to 1 minute so that I can see what you have to offer within the context that I have given you. Nope, got to have money. And I get it. Maybe they've been ripped off. But I wasn't asking them to edit the whole video. I gave them a 12-minute video. And they could take any part of that and edit it however they pleased as long as it met the criteria that I had given. But they refused, and I said, okay, good luck. And, no hard feelings. But, maybe I would imagine, having heard from other people in the not directly to me, but I've heard from people or seen information from people stating how they were ripped off. And this is actually an interview process where I'm trying to invalidate people because their English isn't good enough, or they're lazy, or they're unmotivated, or that they're not serious, or they don't have the skills. And indeed, I did find those people. So like I said, out of the dozen or so, 2 responded positively. Those ones pursued it. The other ones did not. A few others that had approached me pursued it, and others, even before I said anything, they were just like, nope, nothing happened at all. No messages. And others, I messaged them back, and then suddenly they were silent. And yeah, it's like it takes all kinds, right? And so I eliminated some people because they weren't good enough at English. Now you may say to yourself, and I'm going to get to this point, the point of the video in a minute here. But you may say to yourself, why does a video editor need to have good English? And I will explain that later. Don't let me forget. So, after eliminating several people who were not good at English, I also got a gentleman who was like, the previous day, which I think that was 2 days ago now, had said, let's hop on a call. I want to show you some stuff that's really going to impress you. And I was like, no, I'm busy right now, which I was. And then yesterday I contacted him and I said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you give me some examples? So he gave me some examples, and I said, look, just narrow it down for me. This is too many. So he gave me an example. I looked at it, and then I looked at the next one, and the next one, and the next one. He kept on throwing more at me. I think in total there were 6 or 7 that I looked at, and they were all the same. Now, he claimed that this is work he had done for another client, and that was what they wanted. But these were either sales pitches or motivational videos, and they were boring. They had no life to them. They had the motivational videos had no progression. It was just a series of shots of either a road or somebody exercising, and no difference between the early exercisers and the ones later in the video in terms of success. It had no progression to show to support rather what was being said. And the video was filled up with audio clips of famous people giving motivational speeches. And I asked the guy, do you have permission to use those audio clips? And I don't remember if they answered or not. And I explained to the person why each of those videos was bad. And I also explained that their English wasn't good enough and parted ways. And that person was actually very persistent in trying to get me to change my mind. After I said no, he was like, okay. And so we talked for a while. And then he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Your English isn't good enough. And or whatever it was. No, not English. The quality of your videos isn't good enough. He was very grateful for my feedback. And he tried again. And then the conversation finally stopped. And I was like, oh, boy. There's a guy who doesn't give up easily. Then there was another guy. This was actually, I got him mixed up, I think. This one was the one who actually said he wanted to hop on a call with me. So I said to him, I want to see an example of. So I gave him a link to a video that I had prepared and that I had given to other people to edit. Some of them did, some of them didn't. And he came back and he said, you're going to love this. It's great. It's amazing. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And I watched it. And that was a waste of 1 minute of my life because he had done almost nothing. It was as if he was doing the least work possible in the hopes that somehow he was going to get money. I can understand that if you don't have a lot of skill in editing, that would be what you would do. But you're not going to get anywhere. Additionally, he said, oh, and I chose the colors orange and white for your channel. I thought they would, be good. And that was because, and I'm not sure if it was him or if it was the program that he was using that was putting the writing in on the screen, on the video that I made. But it was sometimes the words were white and sometimes other parts of it lower down usually were this orange color. There was very little else in the video. It was just, I was like, yeah. So it went on like this, and it got to the point where basically there was and I'm sorry, I called him an American. He's actually a Canadian. There was the Canadian, but he's busy right now. He's working on the elections. And if you're in Canada, please vote against Poivreau. He is shall we say, he's a puppet for the ultra rich in your country. And he's also very sexist. That's what I've heard anyways. And so it left me basically with a couple of new people, one of whom responded. And then I said, so tell me about yourself. So he tells me about his work. And I said, yes, that's what you do, but who are you? And then nothing at all. It's like, okay, that was easy. Scared him off by asking who he is. I guess he doesn't know who he is. And no, I don't mean his name. So it was just down this one nice young man from Pakistan. And I had initially gotten the impression from chatting with him that he was good at English. But then yesterday, I noticed we were having some communication issues that were significant. I mean, like, really significant. I had to explain simple instructions at length to him. And it was at that point that I was like, wait a second. Yesterday, which is 2 days ago, or 3 days ago maybe, he was doing pretty good. And now he's struggling to understand me. What the heck is going on? And remember, I had said in my posts, You must be fluent in English. Ah! Oy vey, as the Jewish say. So he had given me this video that he had edited a minute of, or a minute and a half of, yesterday, and it was the best. There was one other guy that was really good too, but his was the best. It was popping in all the right ways. And when I say popping, I don't mean modern slang, I mean old slang. So it was really good. It had energy, it had pace, it had visuals. Excuse me, I had some stuff that had sugar in it, and now the sugar is reacting with my medicine. Yay! Biochemistry, hooray! So this morning, since he had done so well in the first video, and I had not been able to give him the video last night because I was having technical problems, I gave it to him this morning, and early this afternoon he gave it back to me. Now remember, let's be clear here. This morning when I gave him the video, I said, look, the instructions are on the video. All you have to do is what the video tells you to do. And then I explained it. You're gonna edit it, you're gonna fix it. And he starts asking question after question after question after question after question, even though I'd already given the answers. And it was like, oh boy, it's worse than I thought. He's way worse than I thought. And at some point today, I asked him that, and I said, I get the impression that you are probably using a translator to help you. And he admitted that sometimes he does, to make sure that he understands. And I explained that for some languages like Indonesian to English, that's fine. But if you want to, say, do translation for Chinese or English to a lot of languages, that a lot of translation services can't do it right. And that was clearly what was happening with him. Oh boy, I was just getting so tired trying to explain simple things to him. But he was nice. And when I talked to him about the problem that I've been having with my other two channels, where this stalker dude that kind of screwed me over in terms of a copyright infringement, wasn't satisfied with winning, so he's just been downvoting my videos. And this kid responds, and he's very supportive, and he's like, I'll see if I can find somebody who has some advice, and it just seemed nice. So he gives me the finished video, and he says it's 9 minutes long, which it was, and I edited everything after the first part. I'm like, 9 minutes? What? What's going on here? I gave him a video that was 1 minute and 20 seconds. And suddenly it's 9 minutes? I knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. And sure enough, when I opened it up to watch it, it was the video from yesterday. Instead of doing what he was supposed to do, edit the 1 minute and 20 second video, which was that short because I just wanted to see if he could catch the gaffes that I had put into that video and distinguish between them and the intentional things that could be construed by a foreigner as gaffes when they were really there for a purpose in affecting the understanding of what was being said. So I was like, I said, I think you gave me the wrong link because I asked you to edit the video from this morning, not this one. This one is the one from yesterday. I didn't ask you to edit that. And so finally it becomes clear that he had massively misunderstood and had spent a lot of time investing into this video that had started out being 12 minutes plus some seconds. Wow. I don't know what to say other than that it was frustratingly saddening because I was kind of starting to like this kid, you know? He's so he gave me the same video again right after that, and so I looked at it, and then I realized he hadn't done any further editing of the part that he had initially edited yesterday, and I confirmed that with him. So I decided, well, I'm going to have to do a side-by-side because I don't remember how many mistakes are in the rest of this video. So I did a side-by-side, and it's really interesting because here's what I learned. This guy is very patient and very detail-oriented. Arshi, or Arsha Ashrad, or something like that. But his nickname is Arshi. He's very, very detail-oriented because not only had he done what I told him to do, which was remove the errors, which were things like and misspeaking and stuff like that, he had also reduced it by 3 minutes by removing empty time where there was nothing being said. Do you know how long that takes? For me, it's like an eon. And he did it, and I don't know how much time he spent doing it. And yeah, that was just like, oh. I was so sad because here I was thinking I found somebody who would help me. And then I discovered he wasn't good at English, that he couldn't follow instructions correctly. And if you can't follow instructions correctly, and it's a foreign language issue, that is an instant no-go. I'm telling you right now, whether you're in construction, where a poor communication situation could cause injury or death, or you're doing video editing, it's a no-go. And that is the point of this video. Because a couple of days ago, when I rejected one of the editors, he was like, well, I'm just going to be doing editing. Why do I need to know English? In broken English. And I explained to him what I'm about to, what I basically explained to you, but much more succinctly. And that is that just because you're editing doesn't mean you don't need to know English. For example, if you are adding text to the video, you need to know English. If you are removing errors from the video, like editing out stuff that shouldn't be there, that's a duplicate, that will be very embarrassing or something like that, or wasn't supposed to be part of the video in the first place, you definitely must understand English. And so on and so forth. So no, you cannot be a video editor if you are the person communicating with the person who uses a different language than your mother tongue and expect to have good results. And so yeah, that's the point here, is that if you want to have customers who are English speakers, you must speak English fluently. Now, granted, there are people who speak English and are not fluent and are still looking for customers. And in that case, it may not be as bad. Or it may be worse because the communication level between the two of you is going to be so poor that you'll never get anywhere, or you'll make so many mistakes that they'll get frustrated with you and give up on you and badmouth you. But yes, it is. Unless you're doing stuff like that is not related to language. So, for example, if you're adding music or you're adding pictures according to what somebody else has told you to do. You're taking instructions. They tell you what to do. You just do it. Then you can probably get away with not knowing much English or maybe no English. But if you, on the other hand, are dealing with English in any way, instructions or parts of the content, you cannot be doing that because you don't understand English well enough. And indeed, this guy was like, he made several mistakes. He was like, no apostrophes, and he did plural verb instead of singular verb, stuff like that. And he asked for feedback I looked, and so I gave him feedback, being that I'm an English teacher and I'm a nice guy. Well, sometimes I'm a nice guy. I gave him the feedback, and he was grateful, and blah blah blah. So, unfortunately, and I do not agree, the ability to speak English is important in today's world. Maybe if Trump keeps on messing around with the tariffs, it won't be. But right now, it still is. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can't afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.